Welcome to TALRadio of Touch a Life Foundation. You are now going to listen the 12th episode of Mentor Loop, a career guidance from Roopa Sunku, Chief Evangelist at TAL Career Help. In today's episode, we are going to hear about re-entering into workforce. Taking a break in career might sometimes be inevitable for any professional. But getting back on the track again can indeed be difficult. You are going to witness some unbelievable ways of starting the career again.
Hello, everyone. This is Roopa Sunku, Chief Evangelist at Touch a Life Foundation. I'm here with another episode of Mentor Loop. Today's topic is about women entering the workforce. This applicability of re-entering the workforce can apply for men as well, but I will focus on some of my experiences with friends and family to be able to narrate as examples, and thus I call this a set about women re-entering the workforce. Okay, there are plenty of reasons why experienced workers take breaks from the workforce for a few years, a decade, possibly. It could be raising children or taking care of a household with elderly parents or sick people in the family, dealing with illnesses, or a spouse that travels extensively, or people who have gone into the military services are some of the common motives of why people leave the workforce. Obviously, there are tools and facilities like medical leave of absence, family leave of absence that can be extended up to a period of 6 to 8 months. But beyond that, obviously, it will be a question of whether you want to stay in the workforce or leave the workforce temporarily. But mothers make up a very large portion of women in the workforce that step down. And there was a survey or a research done by PEW, a PEW research company. And they said that a lot of the women liked to reduce their work hours if they did not take a hiatus with their jobs. Or they have even looked at 39% of the women say that they have taken a significant amount of time off from work. So these are some of the variations that people make to try and determine whether they are completely going to be out of the workforce. 27% of the people are the ones who quit completely because of these responsibilities that I've shared with you. There are some professionals that often find it very daunting to return to work after a long break. And that is what I'd like to take you through in terms of how you return to the workforce, because there is a sharpening of skills that may be required, relevant certifications that you may want to consider, or you want to look at what is the objective of returning to work and how confident are you to be able to take up the job that you left behind with the skills that you left behind. So the time period of when you left your job and are coming back into the workforce will make that determination to help you rejoin the workforce extensively. So the first step that I'd like all women to consider when they want to come back to work is, what is it that is driving them to come back to work? Is it purely the responsibility of running a household that requires you to come back for the financial support that the family requires? Or is it purely a self-esteem entity that you are reviewing for yourself, being somebody who has been a professional and having to do just household services and experiences based on the family settings could be a reason for you to come back. So when you make that decision, whether it is a personal driver or is it a financial driver, that would be important for you to assess. After you have determined that, go back to the familiarity aspect of the job that you have previously done. Look at whether that was a job that you feel you're comfortable going back into. Is the skill set that you have for that job outdated, or are you still current with that skill set. Reviewing the reskilling or recertification to get back into those technical jobs is very, very important. One, to be able to talk the talk and walk the walk of the new skills that are needed at work. And the second one is the ability to do that job, the familiarity to do the job that you have done previously makes it a little easy in terms of transition to come back into a job. Consider also that there are a lot of corporations now with COVID that are assembling a hybrid work environment. That offers flexibility. It could probably offer part-time opportunities as well. So consider that. What is your time commitment for the house that will continue to stay on your portfolio or your day's routine and schedule? And what is the time that you have to be able to establish and go ahead with your normal work? It is also important to look at what are some of the flexibilities that you would like to improve in your work environment. An example that I can share with you is after a friend of mine left coding job to have her first child, she then was looking to return to work, but she also was hesitant to leave the child in a daycare or some kind of facility that takes care of the child while she's at work for the extensive number of hours. She then felt that it was probably really good to go into a school, become a teacher, which was her additional passion around teaching and working with children. And that would give her the ability to take the child to school and to her work and come back after work is done with her child. She will get all of the holidays with and the school breaks that would be rendered for her job as a teacher, as well as the child will have the same holidays. So some of those sort of aspects of being able to bridge the responsibility with the financial commitment that you will have with a job and the work commitment and the number of hours that you need to invest into this job are all factors that need to be considered in terms of coming back into the workforce. Consider also commute, the people that will be watching your child or taking care of your elderly or your traveling husband who is unable to help you with the regular routines of the job is not going to change completely. So those responsibilities will still exist. So consider having a daycare close to work or close to home, which would be beneficial. The commute time and flexibility of work hours will definitely play a part in terms of when you go back and where you go back. Offices that offer on-premise daycares may be feasible if you have a child that would be going to a daycare versus a school. Flexible work hours where you're able to drop your child off at work, take a couple of meetings at home, and then come into the office and leave in order to pick up your child and go back to take the next set of calls after you've made dinner are probably some of the balancing acts that will have to be considered in terms of your going back to work. And I bring up all these factors of the logistical details that you need to consider because end of the day, you should not feel stressed and overwhelmed with doubling up on your responsibilities because there is end of the day, just 24 hours in a day, and you can only stretch it as much as 24 hours allows for it, keeping in mind that you need to rest your body in order to be fully functional and do this dual role that you may probably need to continue. There are people who have decided to kind of extend their return to work by staying home till all of them have reached a maturity level of independence and the children are on their own and maybe they can walk back from school to the house and can be latchkey kids who come into the house even without a parent. So those are some of the other flexibilities that you can consider trying to juggle your return to work. The other aspect of your personal readiness to come back to a work supersedes all of these logistical details that I have spoken to at this point. The confidence to go back to work and being able to decide whether you're going to layer in the family and the parental responsibilities to be higher than your career as such is also another factor that you need to weigh in. Ability to juggle multiple things and perform and supersede the expectations and goals that are set for you at work. And maybe you were that superstar before you took a break to take care of responsibilities, and you may not turn out to be that superstar, but will be a conformant or a consistent eddy at work. So that's something that you need to keep in mind, along with the confidence that you can return and will be able to function holistically. The other aspect that you can probably consider is entrepreneurship, staying home and being able to start up some kind of a business with the home industry in mind, or services that will parallel what you're doing at home. Say you're watching children, watch a couple more kids, and that becomes that financial element of being able to make you sufficiently independent, yet not go back into the so-called corporate workforce. And also consider things like services, like caregiving services or food services that will be something that you have to do for your household and can extend that as a service for the other people in the community. Well, while you're doing all of this, you probably are thinking about mind-numbing activity that gets you exhausted from day start to dawn and dusk is probably making you feel like you are not able to come back into the workforce. I highly encourage you to enlist yourself for some shadowing or some volunteer services so that you feel a part of a solution. You use your problem solving skills in an environment that can use this kind of an engagement. Be part of the PTA or the parent teacher programs at school with your children. Or if you are working with some elderly care, maybe volunteering and peer caregiving services, or even just sitting down with patients and listening to them or reading a book are things that will actually give you an opportunity to see how you would do walking away from the house that you have been entrapped almost morning till night in your caregiving responsibilities. There are multiple large corporations, and I will enlist a few that I am familiar with, that actually have hiring programs to be able to bring back people into the workforce. Consider looking at your resume, updating your resume, and will also be able to give you some part-time opportunities or just shadow hours to be able to see how you can fit back into the workforce. And some of these companies that I am familiar, larger companies and some smaller companies, and most often I will have a lot more technology companies since I'm in that industry. So a company called Bandwidth, HubSpot, Intuit, Accenture, PayPal, Amazon, Microsoft, IBM, JP Morgan Chase, Walmart, Goldman Sachs, GM, NBC, HP, and Workday are some of the companies that I am familiar with that have a return to work programs where they will be a support system to help you adapt and do a comeback. And this is really a focus that they want to bring back the women to the workforce, because end of the day, women bring in creativity, planning, and some of the elements that the workforce could definitely benefit from. LinkedIn also has a list of returnship jobs that they have enlisted on their portal. So you can absolutely consider to look at that. There are a lot of companies, again, who help with women coming back and help climb that corporate ladder, or be it just a stopgap opportunity to just take it slowly, step by step, coming back into the workforce. And what companies I can definitely talk to you about are Path Forward, is a company that looks at women getting back on their feet into the corporate world. And this is a nonprofit organization that works with multiple companies. So they actually are the job seekers. They accumulate all of the jobs that are out there and help you determine whether you fill those roles that are availed by them. There is a company called Elevate, which is a dynamic community that connects people with all cross-industry experiences, mentorship and advice, and meetups as a support system to help you start looking for that job. In fact, I met a friend of mine over a cup of coffee over the weekend, and she has gone back into the workforce and is working for the school district now. And she was telling me that her conversation with me a couple of years ago was to say, don't go over zealous about training and certifications. Keep true to what you think you like and take baby steps. Walk into a couple of jobs that are opportunities that are in front of you. Take it, and you will be able to elevate yourself from there on. And so that is the similar discipline that Elevate will help you think about. There is another company called Reach Higher, and this is a company that basically works with women in terms of on-ramping their professional training and support system, and also look for paid projects rather than a full-time position to be able to get you back on your feet. The other company that I can reference for you is the Second Shift. The Second Shift is a company that, again, is done primarily for women. And this is focused around marketing, finance, strategy, creators, and the C-suite positions to be able to work out as your portfolio. The next company that helps you work with remote workers across the country is Simpler, SIMPLR. And as I mentioned, this helps with remote work and facilitates remote positions that does not require you to go back into the office and can work from the comfort of your home. Working Moms Against Guilt is the other company that is also available. And this is a company that is designed to lighten the load of the mother who is coming back into the workforce. She should not feel that this is an uphill battle, and creating enough time in the day so that she feels comfortable attending the meetings and meeting her personal and her professional goals. So it is based on target companies that have the flexibility and will give you the opportunity to onboard with just the pace that you require. Fairy God Boss is the other company that was originally envisioned for women to review their employers and their experiences. They work with companies like Glassdoor to be able to provide you with enough information and some of the social networks that you need in order to look at the jobs that are posted and webinars that are conducted to be able to get you back into the company. They also work with startup companies that are just Series A funding as well. So that's another company that you can consider. So as I'm going through all of these variations, you can see that these work with niche specialization in terms of where you want to go and how you want to go there. Hire My Mom is the other company. I thought the name of the company was really sweet. And this is looking for part-time and remote workers to be paired in a virtual world. And they deliver most of their bridging services through a non-commute office lifestyle. iRelaunch is a company that helps with the returning of work experts to make it easy and see how they can work on their resume and attend annual conferences to be able to relaunch themselves in their professional life. The Mom Project is another company that has a unique proposition of maternity-ship program, which helps you support the parental leave and then connects you back to some temporary work while you get yourself all ready to go into a formal position. So that's another company. Power to Fly is a tech sector company that allows you to come back into both startups and Fortune 500 companies in technical roles that you would be able to fill. So that is an array of companies that are out there and offering services to specialized activity that you can enter the workforce. I'd like to leave you lastly with a book written by Laura Bolt. She says the book itself is really on her website, which is Best Websites for Moms Re-Entering Workforce, is basically what references her. And she's written about relationships between motherhood and work and what is the trickiest balancing acts that you will have to encounter and foresee in order to come back, as the kids have a lot of stamina and you need to get very ingenious and multitasking ready to be able to come back into the workforce so that you can fight the uphill battle of balancing work and child. While we have come a long way, many employers still discriminate against new moms. So 2018 survey by Harvard Business Reviews found that women who tried to transition from being stay-at-home moms were only half as likely to get a job or an interview than those who have been even laid off from a job and not able to function to their fullest potential. So that itself tells you that it needs a lot of conviction for you to pursue and determination to go ahead and get back into the workforce. The situation is not so common, but they report that 43% of the women leave their careers and lose out on their off-ramping to higher leadership positions because of childbirth. But luckily, there is a myriad of resources that I have shared with you that allows moms to come back and be able to get back on their trajectory to professional expertise and professional plimmets. So I hope you have been able to draw a few things out of what I've shared with you today. And if you're interested in being part of Touch a Life Foundation's mentor or mentee program, please visit our website, touchalife.org/career help, and we'd love to meet with you and talk to you. Thank you once again for listening to yet another episode of Mentor Loop.
You have just listened to The Skill of Re-Entering the Workforce by Roopa Sunku, Chief Evangelist at TAL Career Help. Log in to touchalife.org to know more about the career-enhancing initiatives by Touch a Life. You can also access our previous episodes on Spotify and touchalife.org. Stay tuned to TAL Radio for many more interesting programs.